I have some dreams. James has some dreams. We can do a lot of dream interpretation kind of preliminaries and kind of unpack this idea of how dreams work and how that world kind of reveals itself through interpretation. So we're going to do integral dream interpretation. You have a handful of them. Did they escalate, or was it kind of the same? Like you kind of woke up and tried, and you got a little bit.
The longest one I wrote was the first one.
Okay.
Because I would have to wake up earlier to write everything down, and I realized that after the first one. I started it out writing it like kind of everything that's happening. Like I said before, I can draw you a picture of the space I was in. I can describe the hair color of everyone that was there. I knew what time it was. I knew what temperature it was. All of this stuff, I don't know if I needed to write that down or not. So I started that way, and it's like, oh shit, we're like 30 minutes later. My morning schedule doesn't allow for an hour of not my morning schedule. So after that, I started to sort of summarize a bit. I put key things that I noticed, key things that I didn't notice. So the first one was work related, and I was called to a location. And so I'm running the show as the person in the thing. I'm not choosing what happens next, but I am definitely the person calling the shots and doing that sort of thing. Another theme is typically there's a celebrity of some sort in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize that they are of celebrity status, but they're just another person. For example, the one I wrote quite a bit on, I was called to the top floor of this hotel, like 76th floor. When I was leaving through the like very nice marble-clad hotel lobby, Peter Dinklage and an entourage were just sitting there like having drinks and appetizers. And I got outside and was stepping off the curb, and I thought to myself, if I go home and tell my wife I saw Peter Dinklage just out there, she would be upset if I didn't get a picture or at least say something or a selfie. So I actually wrote down that I remembered that I had read articles, which I haven't, that mentioned he was very approachable and a nice person. So I went back and asked for to get a selfie and just say hi, and my wife would be mad. I kind of explained to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine," and took a picture and left.
Okay. Oh wait. Well, now, James, how did the picture work exactly? Did you crouch down, or was he on a high up thing? Like, was he just really short?
He was already sitting.
Okay,
no,
you guys
were
are sitting
on a chair.
Okay.
So,
I had to get a visual for this.
Crouched next to the chair. Yeah, no, he was right sized for real life, and as was I. It wasn't.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
He wasn't big.
Sorry.
Another one. My wife and I were playing mini golf with Michael Jordan, and I remember him being mad and like flexing, not as in like a but you could see him flexing out of frustration because Danielle was my wife Danielle was beating him at mini golf, and so Michael Jordan was angry, not in like a competitive way, not like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up, like, oh, this sucks, I'm losing. And then two more with just faceless. So another one, I was interviewing two faceless celebrities. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't have a face. It means they weren't anyone I recognized. They had a face. The situations were usually brought on by a job. So the interview thing, I don't interview people for work other than like hiring and firing. This was more of like a podcast or
an interview in that sense. Okay, yeah.
Thing. But it was work to me. I was doing this interview because that was my job at the time. So in a lot of these, I have a job. There is a celebrity, and my wife is tied in.
These all seem very similar, right? Like the content, you've described several dreams, and they all seem to have pretty similar themes, like celebrity, you being like kind of an authority.
The situations aren't similar. There was one, I was running conduit with the CEO of the company, and we couldn't find a mirroring point on the other side of the wall. I think I had listened to Mitch Hedberg that night, and he had told the joke about, whenever I'm really loud, people start knocking on the wall, and I just yell back, "There's no handle on this side. You have to go So I think that had something to
That's
do with
cute.
that. There's one
I'm
where there
trying,
was a
but there's
bear
no handle on
attack.
my side.
I don't know if there is on your side, but you'll have to come
What is the
around.
deal with potatoes? Sometimes I'll just throw one in the oven, even if I don't want one, because when it's done, who knows? I'm sorry. Well, you can do comedy.
Oh no,
So yeah,
in this light, you
different
somewhat
situations,
resemble
but
Mitch
it's
Hedberg.
interestingly the same kind of general pattern of themes, like emotional themes, sort of.
Yeah,
You being in control
emotional themes. Yeah,
and needing to fix something and kind of being competent to do it, and then they're kind of being so the celebrity thing, are these what does that mean to you? Like, what is a celebrity to you in this sense? Like, what does it immediately suggest that like Michael Jordan or a faceless celebrity is in your dream?
I don't know. People will ask me like, "Hey, who's the biggest celebrity you ever met?" I don't know. What would you do if you met Kanye West? Like, say hi. I don't hold celebrities in this
No.
pantheon
No.
of queens
Right.
and kings and gods and goddesses.
We have this
They're
kind of
just
green
people
meme.
in
Yeah,
some, like,
everyone's people.
dreams.
Yeah.
They show up like that.
Yeah.
It's just it's a face on an avatar.
Yeah.
More than that they are a celebrity. The Peter Dinklage one, I did recognize that it was
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage,
specifically.
Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, sorry. Yeah, like celebrities are our red meme power gods. In our culture, those are the Marvel characters. And Michael Jordan, the most obvious thing is he is a physical magician. He's a extremely highly developed altitude in the physical ability, athleticism category.
He was losing at mini golf, not to me,
And he
but
was
to my
losing.
wife.
So a really competent athlete. This is what the most obvious interpretation of that. Like Michael Jordan's this really successful, likable, but also extremely gifted athlete that just dominates. It's probably your conception of him, most people's conception of him. And he's losing at a sport that isn't his main sport.
A leisure sport. Yeah.
So the pattern might be like that someone who's really good at something is out of their element, and in that situation, you can dominate them. You can win, maybe?
It wasn't me.
It was
I was
your
also
wife.
losing.
You were losing.
My wife. Yeah, I was doing worse than he was.
This is
And
where
so
I
was
start
kind of trying to empathize with him and be like, "Hey, listen, buddy, you beat me. You're just losing to my wife. That's all."
understanding that this violet or psychic or subtle or indigo violet realm is revealed with the symbols of magenta. So don't confuse them, but in magenta, the word is the thing. So when you have a concept, when you're able to abstract a theme out, celebrity, then you have to ask, but what does celebrity in this case mean to James? What does competence mean to James? What does leadership mean to James? What is fixing a problem? What is the theme that's being worked out emotionally in that sense? Like for me,
celebrity in this case, I'll summarize. So, celebrity in this case being two faceless celebrities. I just recognize this person.
They needed to be
avatar
celebrities,
in
but
my
you
dream.
didn't put a person in there.
Right. I recognize this person as someone that everyone knows.
Celebrity too is these are important people to the world that we live in now. These are our power gods, and so you are placing yourself in an arena with these characters to that extent. You're playing a big game. One thing I would observe is that Michael Jordan is clearly a very tall man, and Peter Dinklage is very evidently a short man. Interesting.
Well, so then the two faceless celebrities, one of them had an Irish accent, and the other one had more of an American accent, both white. And I actually didn't.
It was
end
like
up
Matthew
interviewing them.
Monahan.
Who knows? Because they wanted to take too much artistic control of what was going on. Like, oh, what if we tried this? What if we tried this? What if we tried this? I was like, you know what? We're not going to try anything. We're done. And they kind of got like upset that, yeah, this isn't working out. They weren't like physically mad. They were just more disappointed that this wasn't going to go through because I think they missed the point of what we were trying to do. But they were upset, more disappointed / upset that I said, you know what, this isn't going to work out.
Do you think that they were faceless because of laziness, or do you think their facelessness was deliberate? Like you specifically
They
wanted
had
two
faces.
guys? Yeah, but they weren't anyone, right? They were just kind of
But
generic
yeah, I
white
recognize
men or
them as
something.
somebody that society knew as celebrities that might
So
be able to
probably
help.
just lazy rather than they
Yeah,
deliberately,
probably.
because you might see a facelessness as representative of a person without a personality or without like much personal, flair or agency. But it might just be laziness oftentimes, and they might become other people out of just laziness. Like, well, maybe I'm actually thinking it's this person, and then the person will transform into someone
That
else.
actually that did happen. In the
Yeah.
beginning of the dream, they were just two dudes. They were throwing out ideas to the point that I had to ask them to stop because they were changing the formula of the podcast. Okay, it was a podcast. And we ended there. The last one was there was a bear attack in
Cool.
Missoula,
Okay, bear
Montana.
attacks are big for us from Montana. Absolutely, that's in our mythos.
That's a very real thing.
Yeah.
So
Glacier.
the way I dress now is how I dress. I dress in adventure clothes.
You're beautiful.
I look
Yeah,
like
you look great.
I'm
Nature host.
about to go to an archaeological dig.
You look like you're
or
going to
maybe go
replace my
fishing.
HVAC system. To me,
That could also be.
you actually will though in real life.
I can't. Yeah, if you need it. And so I was wearing a very similar outdoors shirt in Queens, New York last week, and I was sitting in a bar with a friend, and I actually thought to myself, like, I wonder how many people in here have had any sort of wildlife encounter whatsoever. Like, and that in my
Of a
little
dangerous or
two-
interesting even sea lions.
Yeah, and so in my like maybe 2 minute thought process by myself while we were both just kind of sitting there enjoying the moment, yeah, it ended on. I wonder how many people have seen a bear like not through a cage in this building. There's like maybe 30, 40 people in this little bar. And then, well, later on in the evening, I was talking to a guy outside. And he's from Ghana. He's like, I haven't seen a bear, but I've seen lions. I've seen leopards. Like, you get it, man. So anyway, that night I had a dream about there was a bear attack in Missoula, and for some reason a ranger type person wanted myself and another person, unidentified, not celebrity, to jog up a brick path. And this was like up to the M.
Shimmy up
but it
the
was a
shale?
straight line. Yeah, just strafe up this up this granite wall to jog up this path. And so I started to jog. In my dreams, I can run forever, and this is
Yep.
lucid or not. Like you can run forever.
Is it the
and
correct
you don't get
speed
winded.
though?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I was slightly faster than the guy.
Okay.
Not in like superhuman, just like I was faster than the guy. And when I was, in
I'm
physical
classic slow-mo
shape.
runner. Yeah, so it's good if you can run your
Okay.
correct speed.
Yeah, I was running correct speed, and this guy was like a little older, a little heavier set. I was ahead of him. We got to the end of the brick trail, and there was one ledge. There was a hill that you could see the top of. And being from someone who's walked up many mountains in my life, I know the one that you see is probably not the last one. And so I was just going to run to that and then wait for them. And he freaked out. And he was yelling, freaking out about the bear attack, and was trying to tell me that that isn't the top of the mountain. But I knew I was well aware that that's not the top. That was just a stopping point for me. And the bear attack was not on my mind at all because it was a Montana black bear. They're kind of pussies. I'm not afraid of black bears, and that was what the attack was. A very little thing about the attack itself in the dream, but there was no fear of that. The weird part, the sort of dream state that maybe I could dig something out of, was that the guy was freaking out that not only I was ahead of him, but I had a stopping point in mind, and that was just like way beyond anything he wanted to allow me to do. We're in a city. The brick path goes into the wilderness, but then even eventually the brick path ends, and then you're in more wilderness, which I felt completely comfortable. And this, professional in the dream, this ranger, started to flip out that I was going
He was flipping
beyond
out because of animal attacks?
Well, yeah, because of the bear attack, but analyzing it myself, I think it's me being in New York City for 2 weeks, uh, recognizing that this is not my environment that I like. And then the path being like known wilderness, and then the end of the path being unknown wilderness.
Obviously, a path represents progress. I mean, there's no way around. But a brick path, is this possibly in reference to the yellow brick road? I mean, what's a
I
brick
thought of
path
that
mean to you?
in the dream.
Did this suggest a path that you've seen or anything like? Did this you thought of
Although
yellow
we
brick
were out
road?
of in the dream, yeah, like
Okay,
yeah,
then
I
that's
thought like,
absolutely a
oh, this is
connection.
like the yellow brick road,
Yeah,
but
if to any
it
extent you
wasn't.
make that association, it's an association for sure because it's you both times. Did you
'Cause when
feel
I talk to
comfortable in the
people,
city setting? What was your reaction to the city setting? Because you were comfortable as you went more into the wilderness. You were the more competent guy compared to this guy who's supposed to be good at it.
yeah, I felt I didn't feel uncomfortable. I just felt like I want to get up this. I want to get
You want to get out
let's
there.
get going.
So, okay, what I'm kind of lifting out of this, maybe this is bunk or whatever, but this seems to suggest to me overall, like you're seeing this path that's been prescribed to you by society, this straight ahead, well maintained by society path. But if you follow that path forward, upward, where you're going to Oz, it no longer is a path. The path fades away. It's like, where am I going? I can go anywhere. The wilderness, I can go any direction. I can make a new path. And so there's like less security there, but you are in your element there. This is your world. You're comfortable there. And this guy who's playing a social role of being a nature guide, he doesn't get the woods. He doesn't get the
He
this
knows
world.
the path.
Yeah. He's not an infrared agent. But
That's that. Yeah, that's sort of what I
maybe.
got out of it. Is coming to the East Coast. People are like, oh, you're from Montana. Yeah. Is it anything like the show Yellowstone? Probably. I've never seen it.
As I understand, they have Minnesota accents in that show.
Oh, really?
How you
Well, when
doing?
you
I'm
go to
from
Eastern
Montana.
Montana,
Oh yeah, we ride horses.
Montana,
Yeah, we have some
Eastern
hay
Montana has
buck back
has
there.
a
We got
bit of that.
Norm Prowler needs a jump.
Narm.
I
I don't know how.
I'm
I've never seen it.
you know I'm cooperating. I'm cooperating with you. I'm not cooperating. I'm cooperating.
On the East Coast, people ask, like, have you ever been hunting? Like, yeah, what kind of question is that?
Bye, Kibble Munskin.
In Montana, the question is, when was the last time you were hunting, or what area did you hunt in? Do you ever go fishing? Like, what kind of question is that? Of course. So, your observation of the path having more significance than it did to me is this: the city where I was currently in my physical body was represented at the beginning of the dream, and that's their comfort zone. Then the path going up, there was a dude in a ranger outfit, and the path was his comfort zone. And once
The
we got
path
to
was his comfort
Uncharted,
zone. Cool. Yeah.
yeah, once we got to Uncharted, he was extremely uncomfortable with anything outside of that.
Oh
And that's
God.
when I started to feel good.
See, in as a teal perspective, I just see development. I see altitudes there. It's like, okay, like that's funny. The guide is not comfortable with the wilderness. He's comfortable with the path. Amazing. The program,
Which
right?
goes through the wilderness. Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
taught on how to explain the wilderness from the path.
Yes.
I can tell you anything you want to know as long as we're on this path.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, but that's like a teal perspective, and you can unpack any stage of information coming out of this. It's very much coming at you at all levels at once because this is like the radically open psyche. It reveals stuff through these images and words. I don't know. That's about what I can do with that. But like, as we get into this, like dream interpretation is a big part of it, and it's that's kind of my process. I know everyone does it differently, but I try to understand what those symbols mean to everyone, and in relation to what they mean to you, and how it tells a story that satisfies something that's occurring in your life, that kind of resolves a conflict or cognitive dissonance. Usually, that's what you're playing around with. The back of house and the front of house have a little bit of stuff to work out between each other. So it kind of feeds these images. It's like, okay, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing to you emotionally, but I'm going to show you this movie. And when that movie's over, we're going to feel better about one another. It's just this natural thing that happens in relationship with the subtle and the gross. And we normally don't even participate in it. but it becomes a gateway for you to identify with the subtle. If you become so intimate with it, it can become who you are. So you're no longer this gross body. You're this subtle thing that contains the gross body sometimes. Because you're always the psyche, whether you're awake or dreaming, but you're not always your physical body. When you're dreaming, you're not your physical body anymore. So this is a larger identity. The psyche is a bigger identity than the mind-body that you're running beta and alpha brainwaves on currently. The subtle is occurring as well. It's occurring beneath that. It's creating your projection of reality here. It's very, very good at that. The colors, they're all made up. They mean nothing.
I'm remembering one more thing that I didn't even write down. And
yes.
Then we'll move on to yours.
And okay, well, but look, this is how it happens when you're journaling. As you think about it, new shit comes from the dream that you didn't even know you remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I got up to that uncharted off the path thing, I remember getting to the ledge of the path and thinking I shouldn't go any farther. But in the dream, I thought to myself, we're out in the middle of nowhere. What's the difference from one step on the path to one step off the path? That's not what I just remembered. That was just part of it. Once I got up to that top, the dude was freaking out that I was off the path, and then that wasn't the top of the mountain. And he said you could get attacked by a bear. And I yelled back, you can get just as attacked on that path as I can out here. You're still out here. And then I woke up. The bear doesn't recognize the path.
The bear is downloading MP3s. That's old school.
The bear.
All right, well.
Here comes the bear.
Here comes the bear to eat the bacon. Here comes the bear. Right. Here comes the bear. The bear is downloading MP3s, banging his claws on the keyboard and he's trying to eat the screen. And he's driving down the road, talking on a cell phone in a Model T with his friend Michael Jackson. They got a chest of badgers and they're going down to the market town where they go every week. There's grocer in the market town, there's munchkins in the market town. Here comes the bear to steal the bacon. Here comes the bear. Here comes the bear. Here comes the bear. To steal the bacon. Here comes the bear. Here comes the bear.
Bears can be mean, but frogs are always cool. And never has there been a frog hop before me. And I thought, man, I better play dead.
Here comes the